Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, March 10th. So today we have the moon in Gemini all day. However, the moon is going to go void, of course, around 11:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and will be void, of course, for the majority of the day, not locking into Cancer energy until very early hours Friday morning. So we are going to have a little bit of a crazy, chaotic, mentally pressured type of day. We are building towards our first quarter moon in Gemini as well, which kind of turns the volume up in our mental plane, kind of makes us a little bit crazy. This is our first point of action, especially considering the timeline since the new moon. We have an opportunity to make a decision, but of course that first quarter moon in Gemini is going to show us the two very extreme choices, the two very extreme paths and decisions that we have in front of us. And of course, it's up to us to discern which one is best. Of course, the Gemini energy wants to use the logical, practical mindset. And because we're in Pisces season, we are being asked to trust our intuition over our practical and logical mindset. It is going to be an inner conflict. It is going to be a tug of war. We are going to have a lot of triggers in our physical realm out of our control, giving us an opportunity to not only decide one path over the other, but to exercise the wisdom, the experiences that we've now accumulated, and of course, choose differently. Right out of the gate, the moon is going to make a couple of conflicts with both Venus and Mars. As you know, Venus and Mars traveled into Aquarian energy over the weekend, and they are conjunct for the time being, still within orb of one another. However, Venus is pulling away from Mars, letting the divine feminine energy rule. Divine feminine energy absolutely lead us into this next path. Now, this being said, there's a lot of sorting to go through. We want to take action, but we don't know what actions to take. We want to follow our gut, but we don't know where our gut is leading us. We want to make a logical, practical decision on what it is that we're, directly pursuing and aggressing ourselves toward. However, there's an element where we do recognize where we have to step back and go with the flow. Again, this is a tug of war within. This is an intensity building within us, really trying to show us where it is that we have to find common ground. Around 5:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon is going to square the sun. This gives us our first quarter moon in Gemini energy. This is an illumination of the past versus the future, the old versus the new, recognizing our old attachments, what's keeping us very stuck in a pattern, and recognizing where it is that we have to break that pattern in order to embrace the new elements that we are looking to pursue. The moon in Gemini, of course, is the mental plane, and definitely a confusion there. We don't know what to do. The sun, of course, in Pisces season is asking us to heal the wounds, the trauma from the past in order to align with our vision, with the dreams of our future. The moon does trine Saturn right after we have this first quarter moon square, and a trine is a good energy. It's a building of energies, a blending of energies. And with Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, showing us where it is that we have to consider where it is we want to be in the future, get this vision, get this dream, and work our way backwards in order to recognize what it is we have to boss up and take control over in the here and now, what it is that we have to start building and restructuring, reorganizing in the here and now, especially where our roles and responsibilities are concerned. This is definitely a peak vision point. Getting some clarity, gaining some perspective on what it is that we actually want for ourselves. And of course, this is going to help us kind of lean towards one decision, one path, one choice point over the other. The sun goes ahead and bumps into Saturn right after, though, and this is likely going to create a little bit of a situation outside of us in our external realms that we do not have control over. This is a huge illumination on where it is that we're facing our fears, where it is that we're reprocessing our past, where it is that we're reprocessing our trauma, where it is that we have to take a good look on what it is that we're currently actively involved in, our commitments, our roles, our responsibilities, and what it is that is currently sucking the life out of us, where it is that new structures, new systems, new foundations need to be built in order to actually bridge the gap from where it is that we're at to where it is that we want to be. The moon is going to bump into Pluto. This is a beautiful energy for us to tap into our emotions, to tap into what it is that we need to actually transform into. Again, we're recognizing our past attachments, our past thought processes, our old memories, our old behaviors, and we're given an opportunity to either sit in the fear and let that just paralyze us, or use it as a catalyst, as an inspiration, as a motivation to push ourselves forward, to boss up, to emotionally transform, to get a grip on our mental plane, to control our thoughts, align with our feelings, and of course, choose again, one step forward in the right direction and one step away from the opposite direction. We're now gaining clarity. We're now gaining perspective. The moon is going to square Neptune, though, right before we go void of course. And this is really going to put us at odds with our intuition because, of course, the moon in Gemini wants us to rely on our logical, practical mindset. Neptune energy, especially in Piscean energy, wants us to dream, wants us to tap into our intuition, our higher selves, wants us to gain a vision in our mind's eye. And of course, our logical, practical mindset does not trust our intuition, and our intuition does not make sense to our logical mindset. This, again, a tug of war. This is when the moon goes void of course. This is when we get shaky. This is when we get insecure. This is when we start doubting ourselves. It's not a good time to make a decision, to make a commitment. We have to ride the wave. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of restlessness that comes in. We're definitely going to feel that in our central nervous system. And we are going to have to navigate the better part of the day in this very shaky energy. The moon is going to bump into Chiron, really showing us where it is that we have to push forward, where we have to heal, where we have to make some progress in our mental plane, gaining control over our thoughts, and of course, trying to find stability in our emotions. The moon bumps into the true node, though, and this is going to create a little bit of a conflict because our physical realms are not suggesting to us what it is that we know to be true in our heart and in our soul. When our logical and practical mindset looks at our exterior reality for hints and clues on what it is that we should do, it does not align, does not translate with the intuitional gut reaction that we have inside of ourselves. Again, we have this calling. We are inspired. We are motivated to break free from the past and to prepare ourselves to start a brand new cycle. However, our current circumstances do not show us that our dreams are possible, that this shift is possible, that our inspirations are actually going to manifest. So when we kind of get locked into the physical realm and use what we're seeing in our current circumstances as a guide to make these decisions, this is going to confuse us even further because it goes against everything that is within us, telling us to keep the faith, to trust the plan, telling us to trust our intuition, telling us to hold that vision, to hold that dream true, and to trust the greater, grander plan that is at play, and to just have a little bit more patience. The moon is going to semi-square Uranus, and Uranus at this particular point in time is going to create a little bit of confusion on top of the confusion that we're already feeling in our mental plane, in our heart space. Again, our circumstances do not really kind of suggest to us that our current dreams and the possibilities that we're hoping for are going to manifest. And this is going to confuse us even more on what it is that we actually need, what it is that we actually want, what it is that we actually desire. This is going to really put a lot of pressure on us because, again, there's no good indicators in our circumstances right now that what we believe to be true in our heart and in our soul is actually possible. Now, the moon is going to bump into Mars. Mars just fresh into Aquarian energy. Mars is very sporadic in Aquarian energy. We have moments of brilliance. We have moments of surges of energy come in where we feel inspired to make a move, to take an action. And if the opportunity presents itself, we're likely going to take 2 steps forward and just hold the line where it is that we're at. I highly doubt that we're going to actually make the physical moves that we want to make but we are being inspired to actually make them. The reason why I doubt that is because the moon is void. We're not supposed to be making any kind of physical progress right now. This is more of an intellectual progress, an emotional progress, which isn't a bad thing. We have to get on the same page, mind, body, and soul, before we can actually go ahead and see that progress manifest in our physical realm. The moon is going to bump into Pluto. This is going to provide us with an opportunity in our physical realms to walk the walk and talk the talk. Okay, so many of us, we think that we're going to handle a situation a certain way. We think that we've resolved certain issues. We think that we're going to rise above and do things differently when we're presented with the opportunity to do so. Now we're given an opportunity in our physical realms to actually put forth what it is that we've learned. Pluto is very transformative, especially in our psyche, when we're able to act as the observer instead of reacting from our old egoic patterns. That is when we stand in our power. When we act as the observer, we see the opportunity to make a change, to be different, and we take that opportunity to do so. So it's likely going to fester up in anger and frustration from the external circumstances that are providing us with this opportunity to do better and to be better. But again, the choice is yours. Are you going to stay paralyzed and stagnant in the reactions of your ego, or are you going to act as the observer, see the opportunity, the test, the lesson at play, and choose to do things a little bit differently? I technically think that the majority of us are going to rise to that occasion because we end the day off with the moon bumping into Venus. Venus, as you know, is now in Aquarian energy. She is looking for independence. She is looking for emotional freedom. And it is very highly likely that the earlier situation being provided to us to really do things differently will manifest in a personal relationship. Venus has a new set of values. She sees a new worth, a new confidence within herself. She is definitely on the right path to disconnecting from old relationships, old interactions that are holding her down and definitely not supporting her and being her best self. So this is definitely a good indicator that we are going to rise to the occasion. We are going to do what is right for us, honor ourselves, choose to put ourselves first, and of course, pass the lesson that the universe is currently offering us.